So we're trying to be the media, and I can't really think of a better group of people to do that with. So I want to thank you all for being here. And I also wanted to remind you that in each of the sessions, please remember to try to find someone that will take notes on what's happening in the session, because we want you to be able to collate those notes and share them by the end of the summit on Saturday, so we can create working documents and working groups on things people are doing and build networks that people will continue to work on once we leave here. We will leave here physically, but I don't want to leave each other. We want to really keep this kind of network together and working on these important things for media freedom. So please remember that we want to have someone keeping notes. And there's Nolan Higdon in the back. I want to give a big round of applause for Nolan. Nolan really put a lot together. He was really the person behind the scenes that made a lot of this happen. And Nolan is actually the person that's collecting your notes. So, yes, and he'll talk to you a little bit about that, and we'll make it known where you can send information to him and so forth, because we want to put this stuff on the Global Critical Media Literacy website, and our webmaster, Adam Armstrong, is going to sign anybody here in to create their own account on that website where you can post your work, and keep networking with people. So we'll explain that more as we go along as well. That said, I want to move along here this morning, and we have several students that are going to come up and talk, and I'm also going to bring up Rob Williams from Acme, and Bill Usman and Lori Bindig-Usman from Sacred Heart, just to say a few words about what they're doing, and then we're going to kick off our sessions. Before I do that, I need to introduce to you and bring forward Dr. Peter Phillips, who's the longtime director of Project Censored. And Peter has a few words that he wants to say, and certainly some people to thank. So, welcome, Peter.
Thank you very much, Mickey. It's great to see so many people here this early in the morning, first of our session. And it's a manifestation of Project Censored and what we've been working for 40 years. Is that the fact that we made the front page of the Press Democrat today. And it was actually a fairly decent article. I was almost sleepless they had never written a nice article about us. And so that was wonderful. And I certainly appreciate that. I appreciate the administration here on campus, which is a new administration. That is the Office of the President, the Office of the Provost, the Dean of Social Science, are all have contributed financial support to this effort today. In fact, the food tonight is paid by the campus. And then the use of these facilities is, for us, free. So that's really wonderful. And the staff, there's quite a bit of expense. Putting this conference on would probably been $15,000 if we hadn't been able to do it here at Sonoma State with their support. So I really thank them. The Department of Sociology, Department of Communication Studies are both co-sponsors, as is the Sociology, Social Justice, and Activism Club. A number of students, they'll have a display here, and a number of those students are present today as well. Certainly, I've been involved with Project Censored now for 20 years. And Dr. Carl Jensen, of course, was the founder, did it 20 years before that. So this is our 40th anniversary. And that's extremely pleasing in that we're moving forward on this Global Critical Media Literacy project that so many of you have been participating in and helping us plan for and do that. This is something we've really been doing for 40 years. But packaging in this way, presenting it with this understanding, being able to talk about critical thinking in courses is vital. And certainly the Sociology of Media course, which I've been teaching here 20 years, is training students in critical thinking, is getting them connected to independent media so they can find out sources, and is life-changing for many. They come, the first time and have never known any of this, and all these facts and information come forward, And there's a cognitive dissonance crisis for many that ultimately they say, yeah, there's something really going on here. And I think that's appreciative. And that's all of our goals. Early on, we were criticized for actually during the week because we didn't think that bombing Serbia was a humanitarian war. But we were criticized for using the word. The word conspiracy was used, and that was meant to hurt because, of course, the CIA created the word conspiracy theory after the Kennedy assassination and got all their mockingbird journalists in the country to label people that way, and it became, in culture, a way of shutting someone down, literally. So we've been challenged that way. We've written a number of responses to that, but I was 3 years ago. We started a course called the Sociology of Conspiracies. And the course is packed, and we really can address what's going on. And Rob Williams simply told me today that they're going to duplicate that course in Vermont. So that's exciting, because there are important truths out there that are not covered in the corporate media, that are not covered in the mythology of what America is, and exposing them.
With Acme, and Ben's going to come up and talk briefly about social media. Something that many of us sometimes want to criticize and deride on some level, but yet it's also an amazing platform and an arena for us to do important work in. And Ben's going to talk about that as it relates to our summit. So welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. I hate microphones. So just a quick note on social media and on the summit. You all know, probably many of you better than I do, that Twitter has played a central role or important role in lots of political movements, in journalistic movements. Whether we still like the word journalism applying to what we do, I don't know, but that's there. As many of you already practice, it should certainly play a role in the digitally networked for the state that Project Censored celebrates and lives and breathes. To that end, the GCMLP is on Twitter at GCML Project. That's GCML capital P Project. Further, for this event, we've created the hashtag Censored40. It took us several emails to decide on that, but we nailed it down. If you are someone who live tweets events, please tweet about the summit under that hashtag, Censored40. In fact, Twitter's not cooperating right now with me anyway. Maybe you'll have better luck, but I'm trying. Censored40. If you or your friends or colleagues, if you have friends or colleagues who wanted to come but couldn't attend, I had a few, Censored40, hashtag Censored40 is a great way to follow the conversations and actions that are happening here this weekend. In any case, we hope you'll follow us at GCML Project. Follow along and we'll be together in this. Also at Project Censored, if you haven't followed them, you should do that too. Help spread the word and help share the work. That's where we are. Thank you.
And since Ben was good enough to tell us about how to do this, I should pull up the website so you can see. There is the Global Critical Media Literacy website, thanks to Adam Armstrong, our webmaster. And this is our educator's resource guide we put together a summer ago. So please check out this site if you have not, and we'll certainly be talking about it a lot more and using it a lot more. And I know Rob Williams has just been posting a lot of things on there. Nolan Higdon just posted an article there not long ago, so we will certainly be talking more about that. At this time, I wanted to bring up several students that want to talk about the work that they're doing. And again, this is why we do this. We're a critical media literacy education project, just like Acme, just like the great folks at Sacred Heart University. And so I would like to bring up Desiree McSwain. So Desiree, come on up.
Hello, good morning everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to thank Nolan and Project Censored for this opportunity. This is my first time here at the summit. I really just want to spend a couple minutes to let you know a little bit about myself and my experience within education as it relates to activism. and some things that I think that we can really kind of work on as far as students and educators. But I'm from San Leandro, my name is Des again, and I've been in the Bay Area my whole life. And I've always been what I would consider an activist. I was like protesting the national anthem before Kaepernick in the 4th grade. But then fast forward to now, I've been involved with movements like Justice for Alex Nieto and Justice for Mario Woods. I'm a member of Anti-Police Terror Project as well as Black Organizing Project in Oakland. And I kind of really got my start right after Oscar Grant's death. I really jumped into the activism world. And that coincided with me going into college. And I felt like I immediately had to make a decision as far as like what I was gonna put all my time and effort towards, whether it was like school or activism, like really doing daily work. And I felt like that was kind of because of the atmosphere and the way that we do things in the academic field too. And again, that's just my experience, but I wanna share that with you, and I also wanna share some solutions, because I think that these are things that we can really change. But for me, the biggest thing seems to be that the education setting doesn't really reflect reality. We ask each other to like leave our feelings and stuff at the door before we come in, and in doing so, you kind of turn your back on the health and sanity of your students. For people like me, if I'm seeing constant live feed of like Black and brown bodies being murdered in the streets, I can't leave that at the door, and that affects the way that I learn. That also, affects the atmosphere and probably how you teach as an educator as well. So that's a really big thing, is the fact that we are not reflecting reality in the setting. The other thing is the outdated teaching model, that one teacher up there is like spitting words on everybody and we're just supposed to take it and go. When you do that, I feel like you really relinquish the power from us as students. You relinquish our power to teach each other, to teach even you as an educator. I feel like we all have things to bring to the table. I don't put anybody on a pedestal. So when you kind of keep this transactional model, it really, for me, it doesn't give me anything. It leaves me nothing. I leave the classroom and I don't remember anything that happened. Last thing is the fact that these theories that we love to talk about in the classroom is just not implemented. I try to be involved with a lot of things in the streets as well as online, and I feel like there's a big void. I feel like academic really is not represented in a lot of these movements. We individually as students are, but as a whole, the institution is not. So I'd really like to see that change. So like I said, I have solutions. The biggest thing I really think we need to do is integrate student teaching again. I think that we really should allow a space for us to be able to speak up, say what we want. I may not raise my hand all the time or be politically correct, and I think that's okay because we're humans and we're not robots. So the second thing is to, like I said, create a space, but also a space for students to vocalize their wants and needs. We are here and we're trying to get something from what you're trying to teach us, and we should be able to vocalize that. I should feel comfortable telling you things or letting you know that I may react a certain way or this is why I did. The last thing, which I think is the most important thing, honestly, is to really bring community back into education. Bring community members, community events, organizations specifically, because a lot of what we're doing in the classroom and a lot of what we're talking about, there's people doing the work every day, and we need to bring them and integrate them, and they need to be a liaison, so you can be a resource for your students, because ultimately I think that's what you should be, is a resource for your students, because we have a lot of things that we want and need, especially as far as education and activism. So any way that you can help really would really just help the students. In closing, I really just want to call all of us to challenge ourselves as students and educators, anybody that's here. I want us all to really challenge ourselves to continue to push the boundaries. We don't really do that anymore. We don't have movements like we did in the 60s and 70s. We're really complacent in education. So I really want us to push the boundaries. I want us to be proactive, and when we go home, wherever home is for all you guys, get involved if you can. I feel like it's our responsibility as educated people, as the elite folk, to be able to be the organizers and be the mobilizers. And we owe it to the people who don't have the opportunity to be where we are. So challenge yourself. We all know knowledge is power. We all have that power. We're here and we're educated. I just really think we need to harness it and make change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Desiree. This is certainly the kind of summit that we're having is really modeling what you were just describing and what we need to do. And so thank you so much for your insight and for sharing that. It's very important that we not only hear these words, but we live by them and do them. I'd like to bring up Edwin Sevilla to say a few remarks.
First off, I just want to thank everyone for coming out again. I know it's an early morning and everything. And I just want to thank everyone again. And I want to thank Desiree for that amazing speech. I'm sorry that my speech isn't as well prepared as hers. But my name is Edwin Sevilla. I'm a student at Ohlone College. I'm an attendant political science major, and I'm hopefully next year transferring to San Jose State University. I get this question a lot: why did I join Project Censored and create a club on my campus? And it was honestly because of my professor, Nolan Higdon. He pitched the idea and concept of Project Censored so well to us that I kind of was engulfed in it and I wanted to be a part of it. And there were some people that joined and some fell off, but why I stayed and kept being involved was because of relationships and the work that we were involved in. That the club and organization provided us with an outlet to speak and be a part of something that prior to this I was never kind of around or allowed to do this. So I was involved in subjects ranging from the 2016 presidential election with Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, and also ranging to like the Tom Brady and Deflategate and the scandal that went on. So a wide scale of things I've talked about. And the club was attracted to me and also to other students because you're writing this and you're putting all this work in, not for a grade, but instead for social awareness and kind of like to bring your community and make it more aware of what's going on and kind of get it out of the darkness, in a way of saying. And I want to stress how important the faculty is in this process because they provide the outlet. Without this faculty here and all around us, I would be standing in front of a whole bunch of empty chairs, speaking to nobody. So without the faculty, there would be nothing basically. And because they also guide us and they show us real world research that I think it's amazing that they're giving this as outlets at such an early age. I want to thank everyone again for coming out again, and feel free to talk to me at the end of the summer or after this. Thank you.
I wanted to say, Edwin, thank you for thanking faculty, but we wouldn't be faculty if there weren't students. And we all learn from each other. And again, I really appreciate Desiree's message, and I know that that's what we model in our classrooms, right? And we struggle sometimes with some of our other colleagues who kind of go in and they do more of a, I guess we would use the term traditional, but if you go back far enough, I think learning was always a community thing, and when we've somehow institutionalized and bureaucratized it, it's become more atomized. And I know the people here know that very well. But it's really good to try to share that, and we've been trying to share our message with other faculty members as well as students. But I have to say, the absolute best vehicle for getting other faculty to realize the importance of community engagement, right, the best vehicle is the students, right? Is when the students come up to their other professors and say, you know what we're doing in this other class? Do you know what we're talking about over here? Right? And all of a sudden say, oh, they remember, right? They're like, oh yeah, we're supposed to be talking with each other, not at each other, right? And again, it's a privilege to be a teacher, and a student at the same time. I feel like I get paid to go and learn all day long with students, so it's fantastic. I want to bring up two more students, Hannah Bagnell and Daniel Cerezo. Are they here? Yes.
Good morning, guys. Can you hear me? So my name is Daniel Cerezo. I go to the CSU Maritime Academy. I'm a second year. I'm studying global studies and maritime affairs. If you don't know what Cal Maritime is, it is a CSU that has to do with maritime industry, so we have many majors such as like marine transportation, marine engineering. These are all people who are going to be working on ships. I'm more of like a shoreside major, so my major kind of focuses on the global perspective of everything. And with this major, I was brought an opportunity by Nolan Higdon, who was one of my English teachers. I still have him actually for American government. And I just wanted to talk about the classroom environment that he kind of portrays to us. So for us, he doesn't do a PowerPoint lecture to kind of piggyback on what Desiree had to say. It's not a PowerPoint lecture. He's not the type of person who would just put something on a PowerPoint and have us write notes down and it's like, oh, that's all class. That would be useless. Class is sort of like a discussion, so he presents a question, a topic, we all have a reading, and then from that reading we have these bullet points of like what we want to talk about this topic, and it kind of gives us a chance to critically think and analyze about topics. And he always questions us on like, well, okay, what if this happens? What if that happens? To our scenarios that we've brought up for these questions. And it makes us really open our minds to just what we're learning, how we learn it, and like, are these things really a good way to think about it? Is there media bias in what we've been taught? Everyone has a bias. That's what we're always taught, because everyone kind of puts their own word to what is read in a textbook, if that makes sense. And that's really a hard-hitting thing for me, because I was never really taught that way. I was always taught that in a history book, like everything that's said in there is true. But then, when I took his class, his first class, which was English 100, he really taught us that not everything in a book is true. Like, everyone has their own opinion, and that opinion can be reflected in this book. And that's really what I learned, and it's been monumental for me, because now I look at everything in a different perspective. And that's what I would like to have to say. Thank you guys. Right. This is my colleague, Anna.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. I'm also a student at Cal Maritime Academy. I am not a global studies major. I'm international business and logistics. So while he's policy, I'm more management. And coming from Cal Maritime, it's a uniform paramilitary school, so you would think that it's rather conservative, and it can be, but we both took Nolan's English 100 class, and it opened up a lot of minds. A lot of the students got involved, got published with Project Censored. I'm now referred to as a lot of my friends as an eco-Nazi, because I got published a paper that had to do with the environment, because it's something I'm very passionate about, but I didn't even know I was passionate about it, or passionate about the fact that the media never really discusses it and how it goes into politics and everything else, until I took his class. And this is because of the classroom structure that's really promoted with Project Censored and in Nolan's classes. When you go to college, you think of an English lecture as a big lecture room, 200 people, and you sit down and you take notes, and you're supposed to take what the professor says like it's law, like he's a god, like he knows all. But despite his beliefs, or despite any professor's beliefs, I'm sure that's involved with this project, they'll give you an idea and you'll play with it. I had my first actual debate in college with one of my other colleagues who is the epitome of conservative. It was really eye-opening, because I got to play with ideas, and when I actually did the research, I got to realize, oh, maybe this news channel has a bias, and maybe this news channel doesn't actually have any idea what they're talking about. And it was really interesting. And I can't help but say I've become a little bit of a media cynic, but I think it's good for everyone. And I do agree with what Desiree said. You do need to become active. You need to find something that you're passionate about, but you need faculty and students that will be there to support you for it. And I feel like Project Censored, it really does that for people. And I find the term eco-Nazi endearing now. So,
Thank you so much for coming and sharing your experiences. And you know, we hear a lot of this kind of feedback, all of us in the classroom, and we all know, we all see people get turned on and excited about thinking and learning and challenging our beliefs. And it's always, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's really a privilege to be a teacher and to be around so many fantastic students. And at Project Censored, we really seem to attract a lot of interesting students, and some of them don't even know until they get there and they say, oh, this is what's happening in this kind of a class. And again, like I said, this means that students will start saying, well, why is that not happening in my other classes? Why is that not happening at the dinner table? Why is that not happening in the town square, right? And so this is kind of an infectious thing about the work that we do at the project and the folks that we work with. Right now, I would like to bring forward our co-sponsors. And I'll start with Rob Williams from Acme. He wants to come up and talk a little bit about what's going on with Acme. And Julie, you want to come up too? That's fantastic. And Julie Frechette, please come up.
Morning, everybody. Morning.
I'm going to take the mic if he doesn't.
You should take it on. You start.
I find the term eco-Nazi endearing. I put a star next to that in my notes. That was fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. Good morning, everybody. Really good to see you all. I wanted to introduce myself. I am Rob Williams. I am a middle-aged PhD white male of privilege who also teaches courses in 9/11 and state crimes against democracy. Yeah. And it's really nice to be here among friends. Julie?
Hello everyone and welcome. I am also a white woman of privilege, but of Quebecois French-Canadian descent. I'm a mother of two and a professor and department chair and co-president of Acme. Are we supposed to add to that about anything else that you would like to? I've also been told I'm the Acme diva.
So ACME stands for the Action Coalition for Media Education. Our goal is to be around for 40 years, like Project Censored has been. We were founded in 2002. We are an action-oriented media education and critical media education network. And I wondered if it's okay with all of you just to take a moment and introduce our board members here in the room, because we were so excited about this 40th anniversary celebration here in Sonoma, California, that we organized our entire national board meeting retreat for this weekend around this particular summit. So without further ado, Sarah Voorhees is here from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And these are fantastic people. We can talk about them all day, but please meet them, and they have a lot to say, and they're excited to learn from all of you as well. Gordon Glover is here from the Second Vermont Republic. John Boyer is here from Virginia. Susan Owutu is here from Boston, Massachusetts. Tell me, I just learned this morning. Tell me what your name means again.
Wusu wusu means to shake somebody.
Wusu wusu means to shake somebody. And that's in the Ghana land. Is it Ghana? Ghana, awesome. Susan is our newest board member, so we're so glad to have her on board. Ben Boynton, yeah. Ben Boynton from New Hampshire. Bill Usman, who you'll hear from in a moment, from Connecticut. And Lori Bigley-Usman from Connecticut as well. I just wanted to say quickly, tell me who said this. A democratic civilization will save itself only if it makes the language of the image into a stimulus for critical reflection, not an invitation for hypnosis. That was Umberto Eco, of course. A hug for me later, Bill. So, critical reflection is, of course, vital to the work that we do, but we live in interesting times, as I think we can all agree, and critical reflection is not enough. The national media literacy education conversation has been for too long stuck in critical reflection mode. And ACME was founded as a national independent critical media literacy nonprofit to marry critical reflection with action. And that is why we are here this weekend, to learn from all of you, to network. We're incredibly excited about the Global Critical Media Literacy Project platform, which we hope will deepen our partnership with Project Censored, with the Sacred Heart University folks, and with hopefully a lot of you who will get involved as students and teachers and citizen activists in this ever-widening conversation.
A little shorter here. I wanted just to echo a lot of what Rob just said. And what's exciting, Desiree, you were talking about power dynamics in the classroom and what's effective pedagogically. So what ACME does is we embrace a critical pedagogical model of learning that doesn't just dump knowledge into people's brains, right, as Freire would talk about, but is much more like Auguste Boal's model of the pedagogy of the oppressed, getting people involved in their own self-transformation and the transformation of the lives of those around them in their communities. So we honor this learning community model, and we are the bridge both to K-12 and higher ed. So there aren't a lot of organizations that can take theory and make it pragmatic and applicable to people's lives. And that's what the Action Coalition for Media Education does so well. We are not just educators of different grade levels, but we're activists as well in the work that we do. So I really appreciated hearing from you and all the students, as well as Mickey's perspective on the value of the classroom as an incredible learning space. So with that said, we'd love to hear more about what you could bring to ACME, what your interests are, what we can do to serve you, and certainly to collaborate and join our coalition. Thank you so much.
I would, Umberto, echo all of what they just said. If there's a bad pun to be made, I will make it. It comes through all the time, so I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry. At this time, I'm going to bring up another couple of amazing folks. But just before I do that, I wanted I feel I'm compelled to give a couple of quick shout outs myself. One is to my great co-conspirator, co-editor, and associate director, Dr. Andy Lee Roth, who's in the back of the room. It's been an honor and a privilege to do so many books with someone as brilliant as Andy and such attention to detail. And we put together these books every year. And Peter did 14 of these, and I'm up to 8, and I think Andy is 7 or 8 of these. We do these every year, and we do them with students and faculty and people that really care about what's going on in the world and understand the importance that media play in the world and in terms of communicating, right? And it's a very powerful platform. And the reason that we really created this Global Critical Media Literacy Project is we were hoping that everybody would think it was their platform. So I want to invite you again to check out the website, gcml.org, and we're going to get a list of people and emails and contacts, and we're going to connect you with our webmaster, Adam Armstrong, so that we can set up accounts there for you to do the things that you do, and it's your platform. So I want to remind people that that's what it's for, and that's what we want to really build on when we're here. So with that, I want to bring up the folks from Sacred Heart University all the way from Connecticut. I had a great pleasure of being in their home turf in the spring for a great conference with ACME. And this is Bill Usman and Lori Bindig Usman. So come on up.
Thank you, Mickey. I am Bill Usman.
Hi, I'm
I'm Lori Bendig-Eastman.
We are colleagues, and as you probably can tell from the name, a little something more than that. I am on the board of the Acme Coalition for Media Education and the Global Critical Media Literacy Project, as is Lori. You know, as far as I'm concerned, if interlocking boards of directors are good for the Fortune 500, then they're good for us too. And it was my real pleasure to first meet Nolan and then Mickey and Peter a couple of years ago. I've been reading the Project Censored books for 25 years. I know I'm only 27, but I started reading early. And so for me to wow, I'm having a beer with Mickey Huff and Peter Phillips. To me, that was more exciting than meeting Justin Timberlake or something. Literally, I was more excited by that. And we are here as supporters and partners with Project Censored and with Acme and with the Global Critical Media Literacy Project, representing Sacred Heart University. I'm not sure they know that they're being represented here, because more specifically, we're representing our graduate program in media literacy and digital culture. We believe it's the only graduate program in the country, the only master's program in the country that focuses on media literacy from a critical perspective. And that's the key word, because there's lots of versions of media literacy out there, but they're not all versions that I'm totally down with. What we need is critical media literacy that challenges corporate power in just the same ways that Project Censored and Acme and the Global Critical Media Literacy Project do. So we're partnering with these groups, and we're very, very proud to do that. I can tell you very blatantly that we're looking for students. University administrations often don't understand or support critical programs very much. And we're in a position where we have to seek that type of support outside of our university structure. So we're looking for students. We're looking for actually the kind of people, the kind of students who came up here and spoke today. Those are just the kind of smart, politically engaged students that we're looking for. We have concentrations in our program in media and social justice. We have concentrations in political action and media production. And you guys and other students who are here and the faculty who are here who are working with students like that and getting students excited as undergrads, we have a graduate program for them if they really want to do this type of work.
So just to reiterate what Bill said, we are looking for people like Des and Edwin and Daniel and Hannah. Where'd they go? I miss Daniel and Hannah, but right down there. That are willing to challenge and engage and are in the classroom, that are willing to have interesting and thoughtful and challenging conversations in the classroom and have hands-on real-world experience and projects that furthers the causes that they care about the most. In addition to Bill and I being here, we also have one of our alums from our one-year program, our first class, Katie Prendelis. And so if you have any questions about our curriculum, about what it's like in Fairfield, Connecticut, it's actually, I think, maybe warmer there today than here, so we would love to talk to you. Please don't hesitate, because we think that critical media literacy is the way to make this world a better place. So thank you.
It's great to be among friends, and we think that you are all friends of the project and the Global Critical Media Literacy Project, and we're looking forward to having just an amazing couple of days here at Sonoma State University. And I do want to thank again Dr. Peter Phillips for helping make all the arrangements with the university, and the university president that has decided that Project Censored is an important thing, once again, here at Sonoma State University. So that's quite delightful. I also want to, I'm going to tell a really brief story. Brevity is not my strong point, but I will be brief. The talk, it's so great to see students here so early in the morning. It's great. It's good to see me here early in the morning. It's being in the classroom and being with students is what really energizes me and excites me about what we do. And I've been doing it long enough now, I guess, 16 years, that I've seen at the junior college where I teach, and have just such amazing students that are going through so many things and doing so much, and they're working and they're going through jobs, and they have all kind of just the fact that students are able to get into the classroom in this kind of climate and this kind of economic climate in the United States today, which I think is a travesty, and student loan debt, and this is such a form of slavery that needs to really be addressed. And but just to see the dedication of these young people that come through, and they really want to do something and they want to change things, and it's just great to kind of be a conduit of that and have that happening. And so I had to have one bragging point. Nolan Higdon did so much putting together this conference, and I always get to meet his students every semester. Nolan is a former student of mine. That's how old I am now. And he's really an example of somebody that, he showed up in my classroom over a decade ago, kind of a little punky kid, right, with an attitude, right? And I was just like, I know you. I had that going on. I had that attitude. And then the surprising thing was he was a repeat offender, right? He was in another class, and then he was in another class with me. I'm just like, wow, you're crazy, man. You keep coming back for more. And then he went on and got, he was at Diablo Valley College, and then he went on and did his history degree in Davis, and then he came back and TA'd some more, and then he went to graduate school, and then he came back again. And I said, if you keep coming back here, I'm gonna find stuff for you to do. And so watch out what you wish for, because again, Nolan was a really big force behind putting this together. And again, I want to really just give him a big round of applause for helping bring it together. So in a lot of ways, I look at students and I kind of see them, I'm like, where are you? And then they come back 5 years later, 10 years later, right? And they're really doing fantastic things. And what ACME does with K-12, right? We work at the junior colleges and the four-year colleges, and what Bill and Lori are doing in grad school, I'm going to put on my educational bureaucrat hat and talk about equitable pathways, right? That's how they like to talk about this thing, right? But we like to just say that, we're just creating what's already there, right? And these people are coming through, and they're doing things that really make the world a better place. And it's an honor to be a small part of that. And I want to thank everybody again for being here and being part of that with us. So thank all of you for that. I also want to remind you all that one of the things that we are doing here, especially this evening, is celebrating the 40th anniversary of Project Censored. And we're going at 5 o'clock, we'll be back in this room, and we're going to have hors d'oeuvres, and there'll be a cash bar, there's going to be some music. In fact, Bobby Ramirez, stand up, Bobby. Bobby made this lovely poster for us. He's one of Peter Phillips' students in the Social Justice Club on campus here at Sonoma State, and he's going to be performing this evening for us. And so I just wanted to thank Bobby for all the work that he's done in support of the project and our event. And again, fantastic graphics and poster. We have an amazing evening planned as well. And as you know, we have Abby Martin from Telesaur and Empire Files will be here, and Minar Mahalish will be here from Mint Press News. David Talbot will be here talking about a lot of his work. And last but certainly not least, Mark Crispin Miller is here from NYU. So we're going to have a fantastic roundtable discussion tonight, and I think it's going to be lively, I think it's going to be exciting, and I'm really glad that you're all going to be here, and we hope to see a lot more people. So I want to close out this session before we get moving on to our other conversations. I want to finish this out with one of my favorite quotes from the founder of Project Censored, Dr. Carl Jensen. I think it really resonates with what we're all doing here. And this is about 20 years ago, Carl said this, he wrote this. He said, "Since we will all benefit from a more responsible media, we all really should help bring it about. To do this, the corporate media owners should start to earn their unique First Amendment privileges. Editors should rethink their news judgment. Journalists should persevere in going after the hard stories. Journalism professors should emphasize ethics and critical analysis and turn out more muckrakers and fewer buckrakers. The judicial system should defend the freedom of the press provision of the First Amendment with far more vigor. And I have to say I was pleasantly surprised in North Dakota this past week when they protected Amy Goodman, and not just Amy Goodman, but they protected First Amendment rights of the free press to tell people what's really going on. The public should show the media it is far more concerned with the high crimes and misdemeanors of its political and corporate leaders than it is with the crimes and gossip of celebrities. The effort, Jensen said, will be well worth it." We all think the effort is worth it, and that's why we're here. So I welcome everybody to the Media Freedom Summit, and we have time until about 10:40, so we have about 15 minutes before we start. Please have coffee in the lobby. Please check out our books. Please talk with one another. And if you need anything at all during the weekend summit, please come and find me, and I will try to happily meet your needs. Thank you so much for being here.
Ah.